Microsoft in the last 2 years has done tremendous and incredible stuff in the machine learning arena, at least. And I think I've never seen something so special about Microsoft. What I believe is, if there is innovation that Microsoft and Google is doing for you, rather than doing it in your house, you leverage what they are selling for free, right? So, for example, the use case that you just mentioned, looking at a particular dress and seeing if it's available somewhere else, that's there in one of the algorithms, built in, packaged in, and you can just go ahead and use it. Of course, you have to apply your own brain and then apply your domain understanding and use it for your needs. But you have a platform, you've got an ecosystem already developed for you, which is for free. So I am a big time fan of Microsoft nowadays, and of course Google for Microsoft for CNTK and Google for TensorFlow for just open sourcing all these stuff. This is incredible. The second is outsourcing outsourcing your machine learning work to organizations. I totally agree with what we've been discussed here. I think when I go to an organization that's not a tech organization, they always want to have a team that comes in, deliver something in 4 months and go away, and then of course there's small support that you maintain. But if you go to something like, let's say Google calls me tomorrow and say, can you do certain things, I think it would only be collaborative. It would never be outsourced to any company, and I think that's a logical stuff that they're doing. Thirdly, I think with the universities, I believe, and as part of my company, we've got university affiliations with 5 universities, both in India and in the US. There is a great opportunity with the universities, simply because the academia was the one that was leveraging machine learning till 2012 or 11. But after that, once we saw bigger platforms that could process large amount of data, and that's where you don't need to sample the data and then make predictions on it. You rather use the entire data set in its entirety and make more logical and correct decisions. I think academia has the potential to leverage to deliver that kind of stuff. And to add to that, we have a product which in fact has been developed only by college students, and we got its first client last month. And it's just a product by the students of 3 colleges combined, and using, of course, the Google and the Microsofts of the world.
Wow. The last one is really interesting to know, and something very close to my heart also. Anirudh, you are an entrepreneur. I would love to know, when students literally graduate, from IITs or universities, from the tech institutes, they always, bubble with so much new ideas, and they actually want to, build something new. They want to start their own companies, right? When they're designing these new products, where do you see their market? Like, do they have good market? Should they do it in collaboration with the other research hubs? Like, how do you see it, you being an entrepreneur?
I think the market is huge, and as I said, it's a big enough plate for all of us to eat. So there is, I think, even if there are 100 million, not 100 million, but at least 1 million data scientists in India, there will still be more possibilities for new data scientists. On the side of it, I mean, this year when Vishal Sikka announced his quarter results last year, in fact, it was the same time last year. He said that our prediction engine said that we'll be wrong by 10%, and it was correct. So we were wrong by 10%, right? So imagine it's not about telling the right things, but telling the wrong things the right way, right? So there's immense potential. As an entrepreneur, I think any college graduate who's passing out, what I've seen, and it's been a little disappointing, is the fact that we all get rattled and overwhelmed with the technology. I think technology is huge and it's great, but the thing that works in the market is not the technology. Of course, it is the backbone, right? I'm not replacing it, but it is always a use case. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to solve? So I know, I mean, when you go to a college, for hiring people, what I see is they mentioned hundreds of technologies, and they're very good at some set of technologies. And then when I ask them, why were you using these technologies? That's because there was a course available on it, right? And that's what I believe we're missing out on the bus. There is plethora of opportunities. You just have to figure out what do you want to do, and it could be anything, right from finding out a leak in a pipeline to doing IoT with manufacturing industries, or to do prediction with a financial firm and forecasting basically, or doing any kind of adverse events with pharma. There's multitude of things. So you just have to ensure that what you're trying to solve is something worthy solving, and then of course there's technology that can back you up with that.
Thank you so much, Anirudh. Question to both of you is like, of course, you are doing it more in-house because that's the major part of what you are doing. You are, more comfortable to get it from the, third party and literally use it in the business. When this very new entrepreneur are, very young brains, come and, approach you or want to show you, their new product, how do you feel about it? Like, do you feel more trust, when the big houses actually, come up with their more tested and those products, or are you also, kind of happy to look into these new products and, there might be some, something good and you can mentor them and make it, literally use in your job? So how do you see that?
Okay, would continue, where Anirudh left. It's immense potential. The generation today coming out of colleges, they have where what actually matters is the idea. Okay, I would just take an example of what I would embrace. I mean, like anybody coming and showing me a solution or a problem that he has solved, I would love to see it, and would try to apply my head wherever I can, to the extent of how and what it is resolving, and can it be made better, and how could it be marketed. I'll just give you an example of, I don't know how many of you know about a company that's called flightradar24.com. Yeah, just started by a guy, and what he has achieved today is the biggest of the aviation companies in the world could not do it. Okay, the biggest of the aviation companies, you name it, they could not do it. You could check out flightradar24.com, and all it started was with an idea. Okay, and the way he used it, it's about, it gives you a real-time information about each plane in the world. This company was the first to detect the Malaysia, 370, that it's gone off, the first to detect the Russian crash in the Egypt, and the first again to Lufthansa crash in the France. So they've done, and what he did was he used the community. Okay, he did not. I mean, because the idea was that, okay, he didn't want to go the way that normal aviation companies, they would go put their hubs and all those kind of things. He's used community, where he says, okay, I give you a device free. I would figure out the clearances and everything you need. You just need to place the device which is going to track the entire thing, and you see, I mean, it's one of the most I have tried this site, and the kind of information they give it, they will show you the plane is landed, and you would see that it's absolutely sort of real time, and just lagging in, which is, I mean, you could track, like if you go to the stats of what's the kind of data generated and all those kind of things. So that's the power of an idea. Okay, I would say, so I would definitely love to listen and see how we could help.
Yeah, so I don't think young entrepreneurs or big houses, that doesn't really matter, right? I mean, most of the big companies we see, even Flipkart, I mean, they started with small ideas, right? Google, pretty much everyone started with small ideas, and they became big. So what, like Amit said, what is important is really the idea, and how they have thought about the idea, and how and also idea is just one part. The other important aspect is the execution. And sometimes people have great ideas, but I mean, they are not able to execute on them. And so I would sort of look at both aspects, and idea in terms of how they have thought through how they would actually try to reach the market, and in terms of execution, what they have done so far and how they are making progress, right? For me, it wouldn't be a decision based on one presentation. It would be a based on a series of presentations over a period of time, where which would either convince me or not convince me towards what those folks are doing. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. So, truly speaking, people say, and people think that this machines and robotics, they are so much entering into our life. They are kind of working so much with our, very valuable personal data today, and coming up with the solutions. How good it is, or is it actually going to be a threat to the the human workers that we are? Someone told that it's really not the end of the road, it's actually the bend of the road, because every time there was a new revolution that came, everybody actually thought probably that's the end, and it never was an end. So it's a new bend, and it actually frees you to do something better, for which probably we had been created. So with that, I open it to the more Q&A to the audience, and if you have questions to the panelists, or if panelists have something more to add on that.
Get me a volunteer, please.
Machines can have emotions or not, and if yes, which sector can get the most benefit of emotional machines? Yeah, that's my question. Okay. So do you guys think that machines can sometimes have emotions, can for example sense the emotions of the person that they are having interaction or not? Okay, and if yes, which sector do you guys predict that can have the most benefit from these machines that can have emotion?
Yeah, so emotions, of course, has been a mystery. Even humans are not very sure of what exactly it is. And what I've seen is in the last 1.5 years, Dr. Jeffrey Hinton, I don't know if you've heard of his name, he's a big shot in the deep learning world. Deep learning is the predecessor to AI and a successor to machine learning. Of course, emotions are now being traceable or quantifiable, if I could call it. There are multiple areas you can apply it. In France, if you can figure out the emotions or a sentiment with respect to a share, is it going to go up or down, and of course then apply the other features. It's in the review industry. If you can figure out the review for a product, if people are talking good or bad about it without reading it, of course, doing it all programmatically. There is also a very strong use case that comes out of emotions, is the fact that when you're buying something, right? How do you link an offer to an emotion, right? So how, for example, if this is Diwali sale and I want to offer something to someone, and every offer is a cost, so I can't make that offer to everyone. So I want to ensure that I make this offer to someone who enjoys it the most and eventually relishes the most. Emotions can be really, really handy in that case. Though the research so far has not been extremely, or has been absolutely objective, the idea is still subjective, but what I've seen is in the very recent research paper that he wrote, there was definite quantification of emotions. Anyone else?
Do you want to talk this through? So.
Okay. Sentiment and emotions. Yeah, I mean, as Anirudh said, these are not very sort of, a lot of work is going on and not so matured. In our domain, we are really scared about these two things, which humans possess. Because in financial trading, the first thing we say is you don't need to be sentimental about any of these financial instruments, and please don't be attached emotionally, take your decision wisely. Personally, I am sort of, those are the two things I still don't kind of trust in, machine learning. The sentiment, fine, but the emotional part, yes, I don't. Kind of like, going through a lot of articles where you have these robots, now taking up the household jobs and stuff, and I'll be worried. Till the time it's controlled, cleaning and stuff, pretty good. I come home, the food's ready. I'll be kind of scared to find that my pet's missing because, there was nothing in the fridge. So that's where, like, I'm kind of, at this point, yeah, but as Amit was saying, like, we can't really be sort of sure in terms of, like, what turn the technology is going to take and how good these solutions would be in the coming years.
And just to add to that, so when we talk about emotions, right, there are two aspects. One is, can computers sense human emotions? And the other is, can they themselves feel emotions, right? I think the second one is definitely more difficult, and there is still research going on. But the first aspect, right, whether machines can actually sense human emotions, there has definitely been a lot of work in that area. And one of the areas where that can be, and in fact it's being used today, is in sort of customer service.